Hello students, good morning. Welcome to the next class of economics. This is your economics class, and in class 12th we are doing the chapter 3 economic reforms since 1991. Before that we have completed the two chapters which were explaining about the Indian economy's status on the eve of independence, and after that since 1950 till 1990 what were the major changes came in the Indian economy, what policies, what programs government initiated during that time period. So now we are going to discuss about the economic reforms. So first we'll try to understand the meaning of economic reforms. So it refers to a set of economic policies directed to accelerate the phase of growth and development. You can note it down, I am repeating. It refers to a set of economic policies directed to accelerate the pace of growth and development. If we'll go in the history of new economic policy, so what it means. So in 1991 the government of India initiated a series of economic reforms to pull out the economy out of the series of 90s. These reforms came to be known as new economic policy, or in short NEP, which is also called LPG policy: liberalization, privatization and globalization. So, in this policy, there were the three broad components of NEP: the policy of liberalization, the policy of privatization, and the policy of globalization. So, what it means: in the policy of liberalization, in place of licensing for the industries and trade, it has liberalized the industries. In the policy of privatization, in place of quotas in the industries, it replaced it. And in the policy of globalization, in place of permits for export and imports, it has given freedom to import and export in the country. So this constitution, this combination was known as LPG. So now let's discuss about the introduction of this policy. What happened? Actually, India was facing or seeing the economic crisis. In economic crisis, there were the several reasons, such as the foreign exchange, the foreign currency in the country was declining due to the over imports of the goods and services, and government's expenditure were more and revenues were less. This is also the reason for the economic crisis. Imports grew at a very high rate than exports. Like exports were high, less, but imports were more. So it was the reason for reduction or reduce in the foreign exchange, as well as countries' BOP was disbalancing. So, in this difficult situation, India approached World Bank and IMF and received 7 US billion dollar loan. And these international organizations or agencies suggested India to liberalize its economy. So let's see the next slide. It is telling us what was there proposed in this new economic policy. It consisted new economic reforms which is called LPG, and they have removed the three-step system which was early introduced in the industrial policy of 1950 and till 1990, which was there was licensing, there was quota, there was permits, but now there was liberalization, there was privatization, and there was globalization. So it was changed or replaced by the LPG policy. Earlier it was LQP. Earlier it was LQP. In 1950 to 1990 there was a LQP. LQP means there was licensing, there was quota, and there was permits. Now there is LPG. LPG means liberalization, privatization, and globalization was there. So LQP policy was replaced by, in the new economic reforms, by LPG policy. So the government did this reforms basically for completing twofold motives. The first was to stabilization measures, the balancing measures, the controlling measures, in which it was working for the correct weakness in the BOP and bringing inflation under control. These were the two motives. BOP का meaning होता है, it is the systematic record of all the economic transactions of a country with rest of the world during an accounting year, and we write all the information in an accounting way on a piece of paper. So this detailed record is called BOP. If our imports are more, then BOP will be in the deficit or in the disequilibrium. So there was a need to correct or stabilize the BOP as well as the inflation in the country at the time of this economic crisis. Structural measures may improve efficiency of economy and increase international competition. This is also the one of the reason for these economic reforms, how we can bring the efficiency in economy and how the international competition can be reduced. The next slide is telling us about in detail the liberalization. So if we'll talk about liberalization, it means freedom of producing units from direct or physical control imposed by the government. Previously, under the IPR 1956, there were the controllings, permit license Raj was there, but now it was removed from the government end. It was introduced to put an end to restriction and open various economic sectors for investment for the private sector. So now they were free to develop the economy and they can do the investment and they can develop, and so that the economy can grow with more pace. Before 1991, government had control on private industries, but now this liberalization has given freedom to the private industries for doing production. So it was assumed that market forces would drive the economy towards growth and development. Earlier, the government was driving it. Now, Korea, Thailand, Singapore achieved rapid growth due to the liberalization. So we have also initiated the liberalization process in the country. So if we talk about the liberalization, so where we have started the liberalization, it is very important. So we have started liberalization in the field of industrial reforms, in the field of financial reforms, in the field of fiscal reforms, and in the field of external reforms. So we'll start one by one uh, where we have initiated these reforms. If we'll talk about the industrial reforms, so there were the regulations and there were the removal of the barriers from the government end on the industries. In the financial sector reforms, banking and non-banking financial institutions uh, were established, stock exchange market was developed, and foreign exchange market was developed under the financial reforms. The reforms under these sector brought a notable change in country's monetary and banking policies. In India, it has also shown a multi-dimensional growth like financial sector and also contributed in economic development. If we'll see on the fiscal reforms, in the fiscal reforms, it means it relate to the reserves. In the fiscal reforms, the government did the betterment of the revenue and expenditure policy. It relate to the revenue and expenditure policy of the government, and these reforms focus on tax reform on revenue side and fiscal discipline on the expenditure side. So if we'll talk about how it got succeed, so under the fiscal reforms, new economic policy, fiscal reforms are mainly related to the improvement in tax system of the country under the fiscal policy, and broadly taxes are classified into two major categories at the moment. The first was direct tax and second was indirect tax. So in direct tax, if we'll talk about, so these are those taxes whose burden cannot be shifted on others. And examples are income tax, wealth tax, etc. And indirect tax are those taxes whose burden can be shifted on others. Example are GST, custom duty, etc. So finally, if we'll look on the conclusion, so after the new economic policy, tax structure has been simplified and moderated, and this has raised tax compliance and therefore tax revenue of the government has increased. Recently, we have seen a major tax system introduced in the country in 2017, that is GST, Goods and Service Tax. This is also in your syllabus, and GST is important as per your upcoming board examination and the coming home examinations. So I'll take a class on GST also, and you should also read this from your book. Next is external reforms. So in the external reforms, what we did, we have improved the tariff and quota systems in this policy, and there was a more freedom given to the import and import sector in this liberalization policy. As first point was industrial reform, so we can see regulatory mechanism was fixed prior to 1991, but after 1991, they abolished of industrial licensing, like except alcohol, cigarette, defense equipment, industrial explosive and dangerous chemicals. In the rest of the sectors, private sector can also do investment and start production. Contraction of a public sector means like in more of the sector, private can now entertain or enter and start production, and government has started reducing its production sector, like more chances is given to the private sector. Goods produced by small scale industries were de-reserved, and freedom to import capital goods was there. In the financial reforms, as I discussed, in India, financial sector is regulated by the RBI, and main aim was to reduce the role of RBI from regulator to facilitator. Financial sector reform led to establishment of private sector banks, and foreign limit in bank was raised up to 50%, and it allowed FII, that is called foreign institutional investment or investors, to invest in the country. And we have seen it that same time period the Citibank International Bank came in India during that time period. In fiscal reforms, basically it is related to the revenue and expenditure policy of the government, and tax reforms are principal component of this fiscal reforms. Two types of taxes are there, direct and indirect, and after 1991 there is a reduction in taxes on individual incomes. Now tax structure has been simplified and moderated. GST Act 2016 was introduced to simplify taxes and unify indirect taxes in the country. In the external sector reforms, if we'll talk about, though it include forex reforms and foreign trade policy reforms, which is going to help at a larger scale to our country. In 1991, rupee was devalued against other countries to resolve BOP crisis. Increase inflow of forex by higher export of goods and services. It means devalued means like Indian currency's value has been decreased by the government, so that Indian goods became cheaper for the rest of the countries of the world, and they started importing Indian goods, or India's export of goods and services raised, and finally India earned lots of foreign exchange or forex. And next point is liberalization of trade and investment initiated to increase initially competitiveness of industrial products, foreign investment and technology into economy. So this also helped in the development of the economy at the time of 1991. If we'll talk about the features of trade policy reforms, so there are three major features. The first was import licenses except for hazardous and environmentally industries were abolished. Reduction of tariff rates and withdrawal of export duties was there, and facilitate integration of Indian markets with global market to achieve growth was there in this external reforms. Your next topic is privatization. So we will first discuss about what is the meaning of privatization. So privatization is the process of involving the private sector in the ownership or operation of a state-owned enterprises. You can note it down. Privatization is the process of involving the private sector in the ownership or operation of a state-owned enterprise. Now the question arises how it occurs, how this privatization took place. There is a question. So there are two ways. There are two ways of implementing it. First is withdrawal of government ownership from public sector industries, and the second is sale of public sector companies to private entrepreneurs. Now then after the question again comes in mind, what is the need of privatization, or why privatization launched in the country? This is also a major question. So in the early 90s, lots of public sector enterprises were inefficient at that time, like they were not working well, they were in the loss. public sector turned into a social liability, like government was liable to complete its expenditure. Even they were in the laws, but government was somehow working, giving help, doing lots of expenditure on these organizations. Leakages, inefficiency, corruption had become so common in PSUs. The Industrial Policy Resolution 1956 clearly and categorically stated the significance of public sector and its use in the process of growth and development, but they diseased till 1991. Like there was no positive impact. We can say there was no major contribution was there from these organization at the moment. So, what is we can say what else happened? There was a policy also came that is called disinvestment policy, which promote the privatization. How? Disinvestment means the selling of government stakes into the hands of private sector. It is also known as privatization or disinvestment. Recently, we all are watching the disinvestment policies of the government. Like government is going to sell, SAIL, BHEL, railways, airports, Hindustan Petroleum, Bharat Petroleum. So these all are the process of disinvestment from the government end. Purpose was to improve production and management, also at facilitate modernization. If you'll ask government ki why government is selling all the companies, even they were established by investing crore and crores of rupees, so government will answer for improving the production and management. We are selling government companies, and government envisaged that privatization could provide strong inflow of FDI. It is advocated by the government, and government made attempts to improve efficiency of PSUs, and some PSUs have been granted the status of Navratan, Maharatan and Mini Ratan at the same time period. I think the question must arise in your mind, what is Navratnas? Kya hai Navratnas? So there is your answer of your this question. It refers to 9 profit making companies. Navratnas are the 9 profit making companies and aim to infuse professionalism and improve efficiency. PSUs were give managerial autonomy to increase profits. Maharatnas were there like IOCL and SAIL. These were the Maharatnas. In Navratnas, HAL and MTNL were the Navratna companies. If we'll talk about the mini Ratnas, so BSNL, Airport Authority of India, Tourism Corporation Limited are the mini Ratnas of India. So PSUs were set up to provide infrastructure, employment to public, and status granting lead to better performance of these companies. So that is why they were established and they were contributing in the development of the country. The next topic is globalization, and it is your last topic, globalization. And it is very important to understand the meaning of the globalization. So I am going to dictate for you the meaning of globalization. You all should note it down. What is the globalization? So it may be defined as the process associated with increasing openness, growing economic interdependence, and deepening economic integration in the world economy. Or we can say it means integrating economy of country with the economies of other countries under condition of free trade flow and capital across borders. Then it comes in the mind ki how the process of globalization took place, how we can promote globalization. So after the introduction of globalization, Indian economy experienced unrestricted flow of goods and services, technology and expertise, which integrated global economy in the Indian economy. There are these steps for that, like long-term trade policy, withdrawal of quantitative restrictions, reduction in tariffs, increase in equity limit of foreign investment, partial convertibility of rupee has been allowed for import and export, for payment of interest or dividend or investments and remittances of family expenses. So these are the steps of the globalization. And next is globalization is the outcome of liberalization and privatization. When there was implemented the liberalization and privatization policy, finally the change came that is called globalization. Economic reforms aid at integrating Indian economy with global economy, and this is the outcome of that process. It lead to unrestricted flow of goods and services, technology and expertise between India and rest of the world. That globalization. Outsourcing is outsourcing is important component of globalization, and India is emerging as important destination of outsourcing. So this is clear, I think, to you all, and now we will discuss about the term outsourcing. Like outsourcing came here. So what is outsourcing? We'll discuss in short. Outsourcing is basically the work back office operation or works given to the other countries to save the cost. That is outsourcing. Next topic is WTO. So WTO founded in 1995 from GATT. Earlier name was GATT in 1948. Lately it was known as WTO and it's headquartered in Geneva. It established to administer all multilateral trade agreements and only international organization dealing with global rules of trade. It covers trade in goods and services to facilitate international trade. And it removed tariff and non-tariff barriers and provide greater market access to all member countries. So that is why WTO established. So whenever it is asked, we'll write the answer. It was established to remove tariff and non-tariff barriers and provide greater market access to all member countries so that countries can flourish and the trades will grow. What was impact on the Indian economy with the introduction of LPG policy? So GDP growth was there. We can see it was increased from 5.6 to 8.2 in 2007 to 18 term since 1991. In agriculture sector declined due to reforms and negative growth in 2014 and 15. Like other sectors was developing more and the outcomes from the agriculture was less. Several sector recorded highest growth of 10.3%. Like started contributing most from its end. Increase in FDI, FFI, US $100 million was in 1991 to US 73.9 billion in 2014 and 15. So foreign investment, institutional and direct, has increased in that time period after this LPG policy. Forex reserve increased from US $6 billion to rupees 321 US billion in 2014 and 15. And right now, as per the data of 2021, India is having now record forex reserve. Now it is having the now till its whole history having the maximum foreign exchange reserve right now. So India is successful exporter of auto parts, engineering goods, and IT software, etc. Right now, it is a change in this time period, and LPG is criticized for not being able to address problems of economy like employment, agricultural, industry, and infrastructure. It still has not solved these problems. If we'll look on the reforms in agriculture, so reforms in not able to benefit agriculture during that time period, public investment in agriculture sector has fallen. Government has reduced its in investment expenditure on the agriculture sector. Removal of fertilizer subsidy has led to increase in cost of production, and removal of MSP, lifting of quantitative restriction on agriculture products have adversely affected Indian agriculture. So these were the negative points in this time period. Farmers have to face increased international competition right now in the markets, and export oriented policy led to shift production from domestic market to export market, which focus on cash crops than food grains. This is again a structural change in the agriculture market in that time period. In industrial sector in that time period, there was decrease in demand of industrial products due to cheap import, and inadequate infrastructure led to slowdown of industry. As we have opened our economy due to globalization, so there was cheap imports were there, Indian goods became costly in the market, and developing countries are compelled to open their economies to greater flow of goods and services from the developed countries. So they were uh, like developing countries like India are compelled to open doors for the developed country products. Like we know India has recently started Make in India project, and it restricted international companies to enter in the Indian markets. But recently, after the presidential ship started off Joe Biden, US president, they scolded on India on this policy. Ki why you have not allowed other countries of the world to enter in your market? This is again a problem. The globalization adversely affected local industries and employment opportunities in that time period. And India still doesn't have access to markets of developed countries because of high non tariff barriers. So it is again a problem in front of India. The developed countries are coming and selling its product, but India is not able to enter in the developed countries market. Disinvestment is also there. Every year, government fixes a target for disinvestment in public sector enterprises. In 1992, target was rupees 2500 crore. Government mobilized rupees 3040 crore from this, and proceeds from disinvestment were used to offset shortage of government revenues and using it development of public sector enterprises. The investment target of 2019 was 1.5 lakh crore. Like government was going to sell 1.5 lakh crore government companies to the privates, and this year it is more than 2 lakh crore target in this session. Next is reforms and fiscal policies. So economic reforms have put limits on the growth of public expenditure, especially on social sector. Tax reduction have not resulted in increase in government revenue in that time period. And reforms curtailed scope of revenue through custom duties. Tax incentives to foreign investors have reduced scope for raising tax revenues in the country in that time period. हमारे कंट्री में फिजिकल पॉलिसीज़ तो इम्प्लीमेंट हुई, लेकिन जो टैक्स रिडक्शन हैव नॉट रिजल्टेड इंक्रीज इन गवर्नमेंट्स रेवेन्यू. So this is a problem कि we are not able to generate more of the income in that time period, and tax incentive to foreign investors have reduced scope for raising tax revenues. So again, there was a reduction in the collection of government revenues. So what is the conclusion? We can say LPG has produced positive as well as negative result. In this new economic policy, there was positive and negative both type of result. Scholars say globalization should be seen as opportunity to developing nations. They are saying, and critics says globalization is strategy of developed countries to expand market in other countries. Exactly, I am agreeing with this point. Ki developed countries are making horizons, doing door opens for their products in the other countries of the world. And market driven globalization has widened economic disparity among the countries. Like developed countries, MNCs are growing day by day, and the local produced goods are not selling in the local market, and their quality is not good. They're not up to the mark. And MNCs products are very good in price, quality, and they are cheap also in the market because they are doing the production at a very mass scale, and they are using the technique of the cheap production. So finally, it's the end of your chapter, and I hope you got it. So next chapter we will discuss in the next session, next class. And till then, keep reading books, keep preparing uh, for your notes, and I'll see you in the next class. Okay, students. Thank you.